This is Batshit Crazy, a podcast dedicated to all things strange and unusual, with your spirit guides Heather and Dylan, who will take you to the other side. Subject matter featured on Batshit Crazy may not be suitable for all listeners. Listener discretion is advised.
Thanks for joining us. It is another episode of Batshit Crazy. I'm Heather.
And I'm Dylan.
How are you, my man?
I am doing good.
You're doing good?
Yeah, I'm doing really good.
Man, I can just never get you to use proper English, can I?
I refuse it.
I've noticed. Yeah. So, how's it hanging, Dylan?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm okay. I'm ready to get into some conspiracy theories today.
I know, it's one of my favorite things we do, and it's batshit crazy.
And this conspiracy theory, Dylan, is a little bit batshit crazy.
Aren't they all?
Our first conspiracy theory that we'll be diving in today, and these kind of coincide, or like, they kind of are, it's like a cohesive episode, is I guess what I'm trying to say. They kind of go hand in hand.
You just get them dots and connect them.
Warnings that Soviet submarines are beaming ELF at U.S. coastal towns alarmed conspiracy theorists back in 1975 and the years that followed.
Oh my gosh, they're beaming elves into town?
Yes. So
oh my God.
ELF, or extremely low frequency, refers to the radio frequency range of 3 to 300 hertz.
I've heard of sound weapons. So, it gets down in a certain range. I think it can mess your body up, right?
Conspiracy theorists claim that the low frequency caused widespread illness, migraines, depression, and even suicides among the coastal population. Listening equipment picked up the ELF signal, which was characterized as a tap, 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 sounded very much like a woodpecker banging on a tree.
Oh my God.
Hence the name Operation Woodpecker.
Those damn Ruskies.
A secret Russian neuromedical study showed that each mood, idea, or emotion that people experience has its own set of brain frequencies. Now, Dylan, were you aware of this?
No, maybe I'm being affected by the beams.
Okay.
No, I have, sometimes it's hard to keep track of Operation Paperclip, Operation Bluebird, Operation High Jump. They kind of get lost in the mix sometime. And I must say, Operation Woodpecker has been under the radar for me.
Russian scientists and psychologists produced a comprehensive list of these brain processes with their specific frequency. The submarines might shoot ELF waves for wrath, suicide, hysteria, desire, psychosis, or despair at hundreds, if not thousands, of unwitting victims from the murky seas of the United States coast.
Oh my God.
The Soviet submarines were not attempting to eradicate the whole country. If they could create neurological breakdowns in coastal dwellers, it would be proof that the human brain can be manipulated, even at a distance, by using ELF conveyed by pulse-modulated microbeams.
So basically, it was these coastal residents were possibly unwitting subjects of a rather disturbing experiment.
Eugene, Oregon is one of the cities where Soviets' pulsating woodpecker ELF pulses at crucial brainwave rhythms significantly impacted. It was well known that the United States Navy utilized ELF to communicate with underwater submarines. Because of the electrical conductivity of saltwater, most electromagnetic signals were inhibited from reaching undersea vehicles. ELF is rarely utilized in everyday communications because it is very low. It's got a very low transmission rate that necessitates installing a very big antenna spanning several miles.
Oh, wow.
According to conspiracy theorists, U.S. military scientists started to understand that the woodpecker was more than just Cold War hysteria. The Navy finally committed more than $25 million to ELF research.
Well, that's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money, Dylan. Now, it wasn't long before America had its fleet of woodpeckers roaming the coastline of Soviet bloc countries. Senator Gaylord Nelson later pushed the Navy to release their studies proving that ELF broadcasts may change human blood chemistry.
Oh, my God. That could have all kinds of ramifications.
It definitely could. Dr. Susan Baywin and Dr. Ross Addy demonstrated in 1976 that ELF fields impact nerve cells. The unusual anomalous sky glows, strange lighting, and mysterious plasma phenomena were seen in the sky surrounding the Woodpecker transmitter sites in the USSR during the summer of 1977. Now, according to the Washington Post, in an article published September 23rd of 1977, a, quote, strange star-like ball of light was spotted in the sky above Petrozavodsk, Soviet Karelia, spreading like a jellyfish and pouring down shafts of light.
Well, that sounds pretty wild. If you saw that, I think you would remember that.
It sounds alien almost.
I've seen some strange lights in the sky before.
I think a lot of people have.
Yeah, not long ago there was just a big green flash of sorts, and I just don't. I'm sure it could be something hitting the atmosphere at a certain.
You witnessed green flash?
Yeah.
Did you tell me the story?
Well, no, it was not long before we met, so this would be some years ago.
Okay.
I saw just this bright.
When you said not long ago, I thought it was like 2 days ago.
It just happened.
Okay.
It just happened. I was outside. No. And it was just like a big blob of green light, like not a speck, not a shooting star. I'm talking a flash and something I just can't quite explain it.
Where were you? Like at home?
I was driving on the interstate.
You were just driving and see a big green flash of light.
Yes, and this was off toward South Carolina, and there were also reports in the upstate of other people seeing it.
Wow.
Early in the morning.
The United States government built and maintained 2 locations in Wisconsin's Chickamauga Forest and Michigan's Escanaba State Forest, each employing power lines as antennas extending 14 to 28 miles in length.
My God.
Ecologists grew worried about environmental conditions and human health issues caused by large quantities of energy produced and released by ELF. In 1984, a federal court ordered development to be paused until more research could be conducted and studied. During the massive floods that drenched the Midwest in 1993, many saw, quote, strange bursts of light that poured from the tops of storm clouds into the upper sky.
That would be unsettling if you saw lightning going up into the sky away from the clouds.
According to the Kansas City Star, the strange bursts of light resembled jellyfish. So again, it's being described as a jellyfish light.
A big scary electric jellyfish.
On September 24th, 1993, the newspaper stated that the light flashes were brightest where they peaked out, typically about 40 miles high. So you have the jellyfish body at the top with the tentacles trailing down. Okay, that is fucking horrifying.
Well, it just especially if you don't know what it is, you don't understand the science involved. I would be terrified if I saw this anomaly.
This is like a scene from Stranger Things.
Yeah.
Like, are we in the upside down?
Yeah, we in a sideways. That's what it'd be for us.
The antennas of the Chickamauga and Escanaba ELF sites were ordered decommissioned in 2014. Now, according to conspiracy theorists, it makes no sense if the government demolishes the 2 sites.
It makes no sense if they were to demolish the 2 sites.
Yeah, I mean, they're like, why would they do this? Because HAARP greatly outperforms those pesky Russian and American woodpeckers in terms of weather control and global military dominance.
Oh, my God.
So that brings us to our next conspiracy theory.
Now, I've always been kind of fascinated by the HAARP program.
Forest fires, tsunamis, hurricanes, for some reason, all natural disasters are linked to the same thing, a secret climate-controlling weapon belonging to the U.S. government. HAARP stands for High Frequency Active Auroral Research Program.
Yeah. No, they would never do that. They would never manipulate the weather to give them some kind of an advantage. They're good people in our government.
It's a project based in Alaska at an observatory. HAARP studies the upper atmosphere using radio transmitters. These devices heat up small parts of the air above the site, but details about the science program are complex and therefore have sparked a lot of conspiracy theories.
Yeah, a lot come back to the HAARP program. But what I find interesting is one of the people who support the program is DARPA, which is a defense-minded program for the government. So why would they care about this alleged ionospheric weather research?
Well, let's get into that. Some supporters of this idea believe that there are HAARP devices installed globally. Some videos have been used to explain this secret weapon, such as an electrical installation that was being torn down in Brazil back in, I believe it was 2017, and people claimed it was a HAARP antenna. In order to disprove the conspiracies, HAARP opens up to the public once a year. They also have a frequently asked questions forum on their website. However, the idea that humans can control the weather is not so far-fetched. In some countries like China and Russia, they have been working on weather projects for years. At present, they claim they can only create small amounts of rain or fog. The act of geoengineering, or modifying climate on a larger scale, is being studied more and more. Some scientists are working on ideas like spraying particles into the sky that might block sunlight to combat global warming.
That sounds like that sounds like nuclear winter.
Sounds stupid, right?
That sounds like the dumbest shit I've ever had.
We're just gonna spray a big sunscreen across the sky.
You tire of that pesky sunlight that makes the plants grow and make everything on Earth possible? Yeah, let's fuck with that.
Well,
guys.
what I find interesting is we're willing to spray particles in the sky, but we're not willing to go green and try to live better as a society, right? We want to keep being the same asshole people destroying the planet. Yeah.
Well, see, what I don't understand is, they're like, well, we have fossil fuels, we have to transition, and I agree with that, and that could take decades to do. So the whole time they're talking about what we should do, they should be slowly transitioning. And I don't care if it's 5%, 10%. Look what Germany should be leading this model. They hit the 50% milestone for the entire country, getting their energy from renewable resources. It's like at the Paris, these world forums they have, like a U.S. always takes the lead. Why? Shouldn't we let a country or someone who's doing a better job at actually transitioning? Because there's all kinds of different renewables. There's wind, solar, hydraulic. There's hydroelectric rather. You have, there's so many. You have those things that can set on the waves and the kinetic energy of the waves coming in, and you can just tie all these things together and start transitioning. But no, let's just spray shit in the atmosphere. We don't know if it'll even work.
Well, something else besides spraying shit into the atmosphere, Dylan, is like changing the trajectory of hurricanes. But so far, there's no convincing evidence of this today. Weaponizing the weather is nothing new. Over 100 years ago, the British attempted to produce artificial clouds, which they hoped would knock out German planes during World War I. Or flying machines.
The flying machines?
The U.S. did manage to increase rainfall by 30% over Vietnam during Operation Popeye from 67 to 68 in an attempt to reduce movement by soldiers and resources into South Vietnam. To deepen this theory, others link chemtrails and think they are responsible for changing the weather. Some suggest that HAARP is responsible for these chemtrails. These chemtrails are delivered by aeroplanes, contrails deliberately laced with toxic chemicals that are responsible for creating droughts in California and unbearably cold winters on the East Coast.
Man, those trails can do it all.
Supposedly, right? So one of the biggest concerns among conspiracy theorists is, in the event of weather-changing technology, who would control it?
Well, there's the problem.
Is it the government? Is it privatized? I mean, are we using it as a weaponizing weather? I mean, what are we doing with it?
Now, will this ever reach the consumer, the point that a consumer can just control the weather over their property? And then you have that friend who likes rain, and it's always rain at their house. You have the friend who likes snow or the friend who likes sunshine. And you go around to your different houses and have different weather just above their house. And they do it from an app from their phone. You think we'll ever reach that point?
No, I don't think the Earth will be around long enough for us to reach that point.
Yeah, and if we did, I could just see people arguing about it. Couldn't you? That son of a bitch always hit with the damn rain. Enough with the rain.
I'm sorry, sir, but your rain is pooling up on my property.
Yeah, you need to get some French drains or cut the rain
So
out.
you need a proper drainage situation on your property, sir. I'm going to sue you.
You lack a properly suited cistern for your runoff, you son of a bitch.
So what do you think, Dylan? Is it so far-fetched to think that our government could potentially be controlling the weather, weaponizing the weather?
Well, I do know that for quite some decades, they've been researching the fact they seed a cloud. They introduce something like silver nitrate or something into the cloud, which, consolidates the moisture, gives the clouds more density, and then might make rain. Can they full on create weather? Now, that's a scary thought, right? Can they create a lightning storm over, a drought-ridden area that is going to start wildfires and burn, 50 million acres? I don't know. But I do know if they have that capability, that nothing good will come of it, right? You know what I find interesting is when it seems like when the world events get up to a certain point or, and people really start paying attention, every single time, it just must be bad luck. There's a huge storm hits like part of the country or something.
Quite a coincidence.
Quite a coincidence. And then everybody forgets about the missing money or all this other dirty shit we've been talking about. And then it's just obviously a storm. Everybody comes together. We all kumbaya around a campfire about how much we love each other and then go right back to arguing over whatever we were beforehand. But yeah, it just seems like the timing's impeccable. And I think that's what feeds these conspiracy theorists' ideas.
I feel like the Mountain Murderers podcast studio, the Batshit Crazy podcast studio here, we need like a big cork board with like the red yarn.
Yeah.
Where we can document like world events or political situations, whatever, and coinciding with weather events.
Yeah. So, okay. So, you get into hurricane steering, as it's called. So, at first they're like, we want to, somehow have an influence on this incoming storm to direct it away from us, right? I mean, that would be we're using this technology in a positive manner. But then they lose control of it because they don't know what the hell they're doing, and it ends up, slamming in the country even harder than before. Some believe that's why Hurricane Hugo came so far inland back in the 90s.
Well, one of the latest weather events to make the list, Dylan, is Hurricane Ida, which made landfall in South Louisiana on August 29th of 2021 and killed at least 5 people, leveled homes, and left hundreds of thousands without electricity. Now, scientists believe that hurricanes and storms are becoming more severe because of climate change, but some familiar tropes of climate denialism and, of course, conspiracy theories have resurfaced on social media regarding Hurricane Ida.
Oh, okay.
So after Ida, a Category 4 hurricane swept through the Gulf of Mexico, an important oil and gas manufacturing region for the U.S., a Telegram channel that often amplifies conspiracy theories baselessly alleged that these facilities were in fact producing the chemical adrenochrome from human blood.
Oh, my God.
Now, the claim goes back to a centuries-old anti-Semitic conspiracy theory that alleges global elites torture children to harvest adrenochrome and stay young.
I'm sorry, how is that anti-Semitic?
Because it was rooted...
They were saying the Jews did this?
Specifically targeting the wealthy
right
and members of the Jewish community.
Well, that's where they went wrong right there. It's not the Jews didn't do it. The rich people are doing it.
Now, the Telegraph Post has at least 80,000 views and has been amplified by other accounts, including the QAnon connected conspiracy theorists.
Oh my God. It's raining
now,
pedophiles.
In this rumor, also involving oil and gas production facilities in the region, some on social media implied that the hurricane had been manufactured in order to achieve some sort of political agenda.
I'd be like, I work down at the hurricane factory. Boy, you ought to see that one we're working on now. Damn East Coast don't have a chance, I tell you what. No, you wouldn't work at the hurricane factory?
Yeah, I don't
Hey,
know.
if it's a good solid job with benefits, I would work. I would work there.
But my thing is, like, so what would be the point of, creating this hurricane,
Okay. No,
right?
let's do this.
Wiping out, thousands of people can't have electricity,
Right.
killing folks, leveling homes,
Okay.
creating mass hysteria, financial hardship on a region, especially when you look at the Gulf. Louisiana. I mean, that is not a wealthy area.
No, it's real blue collar. It's got the salt of the earth tops, good people down there. But you got to follow the money, or you got to follow the distraction. What would be the benefit? That's what I like to do with conspiracy theories. I don't understand is I try to be like, why? Who benefits, right? And you got to follow it. Like I say, you always follow the money if there's money involved. And what happens is you can do all okay. So you can distract, okay, instead of talking about this horrible whatever's going on in your government or in your economy. All of a sudden, you're just worried about people not getting killed by the storm, right? And then once you destroy the area, everyone comes together, we rebuild, blah, blah, blah. Everybody feels good about how much we help each other. And then you can have the pork barrel spending, the federal dollars that rain down after these events time and again. And and you can funnel that through a bunch of seemingly unconnected companies into the hands of an elite few.
Well, what's really interesting, Dylan, is back when we had the extreme weather in southern states like Texas that caught many people by surprise. We had folks dead from the storm, millions left without power and running water. Biden even issued a disaster declaration in response.
Is this a Texas freeze?
And dispatched federal aid to that area, yeah. So some people are saying that the snowstorms were actually predicted by meteorologists, while others are saying that no, this was part of, this HAARP weather producing,
This was a man-made,
shit, right?
man-manipulated event. Weather event.
People were even taking to social media to light the snow on fire. Like they would make a snowball and try to light it on fire to prove that it's not real. The snow is not real.
I saw some of those videos, and I don't know, man. It looked like the snow was melting. I don't know.
Well, no, people were saying that they were lighting it on fire, and there was no water, no dripping, no nothing. The snow was not melting.
Well, yeah, and the only way I could believe that is if I was there with you. I know that this stuff you're trying to burn came from outside, in the piles of alleged snow. And that's what I don't know. Do you believe that? It seems like that's a pretty shitty, it'd be easily provable, right? If you coat an entire area with synthetic snow that doesn't burn or melt when introduced to heat, it seems to me like it wouldn't take long for people to say, why is everything covered in plastic residue, right? I don't get that part.
Well, scientists say that they can debunk this conspiracy, that it is a process called sublimation, where matter moves from a solid state to a gas or vice versa and skips the liquid stage.
So it's going straight from solid to steam?
Yes.
Or something like that?
Yeah. And supposedly snow is porous, right? So it actually absorbs the water back into itself. In a video outlining the phenomenon, an astronomer named Phil Plait debunked this theory and shows how, like, a snow cone absorbs the syrup when it's made, and says that that's kind of what's happening when you light the snow on fire.
Gosh, those scientists think they know everything. I swear. All they did was go to school for 15 years for it. What do they know? Maybe he's covering up for the powers that be, right? Well, that could be the answer to everything.
It's a really interesting theory if you look at both Operation Woodpecker and the HAARP theories.
And Operation Popeye basically is on paper as this is what they did they didn't maybe create the rain, but they were manipulating maybe the length or the magnitude of the rain in some areas. And that's on paper. They did that.
Well, there's just enough information out there to, I guess, give conspiracy theorists fodder that they can just take off with it. And I think when you get into some of the science, it's so complex that the layperson just simply does not understand. And therefore, it's easier to explain away the conspiracy theory.
Well, I'm saying, say you fly through the eye of a hurricane. Now, I'm up for some of these things sound like they could work. Like if you fly through the eye of a hurricane, it's way out in the sea, but it's going to be horrible when it gets to land. And you detonate a huge bomb in the center of the eye. You know, if that was to dissipate the storm, I would be like, fuck yeah, let's do that, because you do see all these lives affected in an adverse manner by these storms, right? A lot loss of life, loss of property, blah blah blah. But I mean, and if they can manipulate the weather to the degree you're describing, I certainly don't think it would be a good thing. Do you?
No, because imagine weaponizing this.
They always weaponize everything. Instead of saying, hey, you know, this part of California's had a drought for 8 years, you're going to have nice mild rain for most of this summer, and you're going to have a really prosperous, you know, fruiting of the vegetables and such.
Fruiting of the vegetables?
Fruiting of the vegetables.
Okay.
We have completed. Your bounty will be plentiful. Right, that would be a great thing,
You'll
right?
have a cornucopia.
Or you could have entire regions of the world that are deserts reclaimed as a green, fertile land for people to, you know, grow and survive and have a better life. But they would they'll never use it for that. They always want to weaponize it. They always want to manipulate things with it, and that's the problem. Human nature is the problem with something like this.
Well, yeah, but let's talk about the ethics of this, Dylan, because I guess that's the part that is concerning to me. Okay, for example, you're saying, okay, we could take this desert region, we can make it rain, like we Lil Wayne in the club.
We're in the club.
We're gonna make it rain
all
over this
it,
desert,
all
right?
over it.
But then you're destroying this natural habitat, this ecosystem.
This desert ecosystem and all the animals that live fine in that area.
Right.
Okay.
So then morally, are we obligated to save these various ecosystems or introduce different weather conditions that would change those ecosystems, that they might be more adaptive to humans, to, you know, farming, agriculture? So it becomes, in my opinion, like an ethical dilemma.
Well, certainly so. On a small scale, we're already doing this. The Colorado River is literally sucked dry by the time it gets past these areas like Vegas and other parts all around there, multiple states, you know, and everybody sucks off all it. Like Vegas shouldn't exist. There shouldn't be greenery and trees and stuff. And all the
Bellagio should not have this amazing water fountain display.
No, they should not. But, you know, they siphon all that water off and really affects the ecosystem of the Colorado River. So, yeah, I don't know. But could you use it morally in a moral fashion to alleviate, you know, existing developing conditions in a certain area that was always green, but now it's dry? I mean, I don't know. I guess it gets to real gray real quick.
Right. And then are you going to get into this area where it is being weaponized? Like, for example, right now there's, you know, all this discussion back and forth. Is Russia going to invade Ukraine? Will the U.S. get involved? So what are we going to do? Just have our president sit like a little wizard in his office and be like, you made me mad. Bibbity bobbity boo, bitch. I'm going to send you a snowstorm. Pooh.
I don't know. I don't want anybody who claims to be in charge of anything right now having that ability.
Exactly.
I'm sorry, and that has nothing to do with party. They're all fucking morons, and I just don't know what perspective.
Well, we don't have a single global leader that is responsible enough to have this kind of power
No.
and technology in the palm of their hand.
I would be more responsible to have this power and technology in the palm of my hands.
Oh gosh, what if they just pick you at random?
Well,
Dylan?
I'm saying I would do a good job. Don't you think?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I would do the right thing.
Until you like have a few too many drinks and you're singing some karaoke and you're like, baby, let's get this out and start a snowstorm here or whatever.
Oh, I'm just pulling it out and playing with it like party tricks.
Yeah, you have a fight with me, an argument, and you're
Yeah.
like, that bitch don't like rain, so I'm going to make it wet all day.
Yeah.
Right?
You soggy bitch.
I'm going to ruin her day even more. I'm going to make it rain.
Damn, looks like we're not going to Target today. There's a blizzard. Woo-hoo-hoo. Yeah.
Why do you have such a problem with going to Target?
I don't mind going to Target. You know, I just don't get as excited as you about it.
No, you hate going to Target. When I suggest it, this look creeps over your face.
Can
Like
I-
you wish there would be a manufactured weather event.
So I can't even hide it, right?
You cannot hide
Okay.
it. Okay.
All right. So yeah, I think that's where we can leave it. Does this exist? I don't know. But should it exist? Might be the bigger question.
So many questions, Dylan. If you would like to give us some feedback, hit us up at batshitpod@gmail.com.
Yeah, hit me up.
You can also
I'm going over there
find-
now. I'm gonna wait.
You can also find Batshit Crazy Podcast on Instagram as well as Twitter. But if you're a new listener just joining us, hit subscribe and leave us a review. We'd like to hear back from you all. But yeah, HAARP, Operation Woodpecker, interesting stuff.
It is very interesting.
Right? Don't you think?
I think so.
All right, let's wrap it up, Dylan. Got a weather event heading this way.
Yeah, there's about to be a damn pileup on the interstate.
Is there?
Yeah.
Okay.